Okay, here we are again, and we've got ourselves a good fire going, as you can see. Want to open your door slow. If you open the door fast, it'll pull smoke back up. Anyhow, there you go. You can see got a good fire going. A couple of the things you want to look at on how I built this fire. See the airspace down below. It's kind of the key to starting a fire. Is get some air in underneath it. It helps get the top logs going. That's how I can build a fire in one shot. I don't have to put some kindling in, wait for the kindling to get going, open up the door, and then add some more wood. I'm good for the evening now. This fire here will burn for 8 hours, 10 hours, no problem. So anyhow, what we do now, when we have a good fire going, is we shut the door. Make sure it's latched nice and tight. And you've got these holes here. This is your draft. I want to leave that going. I leave the opening wide open. So it's getting plenty of combustion air. And then it will start building up heat. Once you get a good fire going, the next thing you'll do is you'll shut the damper on the chimney. That holds the heat inside the stove. Right now the heat is just going right up the pipe because I want a good draft to get a good bed of coals going in there. Once that fire gets going and I got a nice red hot fire, then I'll shut my damper and I'll shut my airflow for my draft, and I'm good for the night. That's all there is to it. So once again, the key factors that you want to have are some kindling. You want to use a torch. Put the torch in the chimney. Make sure you got some heat going up the chimney to create a draft. Once you got a good draft going, then you light your kindling. Use a little fire starter, one of these little paraffin jobs like I was telling you about. And all you got to do is just put that in, light it up, and away you go. No smoke, no problem, no muss, no fuss. And so that's pretty key. The other thing is keep yourself a pile of wood inside the house so that it's always dry, ready to go. You know, basically right here I've got probably a week's worth of wood right there. And I've already showed you the moisture content. One thing I did not say is you can get these moisture meters. You can get them from us at Obadiah's Woodstoves on our stove-parts.net website. We sell these. They're about 40 bucks. They're not much money. Great investment. It tells you exactly what you have. If you're buying wood, it's always good. When you go to get the wood or they go to deliver it, whip out your moisture meter. Take a reading. Somebody says, oh, it's seasoned, it's good to go. You get a reading, it's 25%. You say, hey, this is not seasoned. If it is, it's wet, it's damp. So you can usually haggle on the price because then you have to season it. The other thing is you should always have a year's supply of wood cut ahead of time. So I have a 5-year supply of wood. That's why my moisture is so low. This wood here is 5 years old. So it's well seasoned. Now as far as what is a good range to burn wood, anything below 12% is a good range. If you keep your moisture down below 12%, you're okay. The lower the better, in my opinion. That's pretty much it. One of the next things I wanted to show you is some of these fans. I'm going to do a YouTube on these. This here is a Stirling Engine Fan. And how it works is it's got a piston that goes up and down. And once it gets hot, it starts driving the piston. The heat in here will drive the piston. It's called a Stirling engine. Great fan. Now, these fans do not work very well on an EPA stove. an EPA stove does not get hot enough. On a cooktop like this, it's engineered to get hot. And so if you've got a wood stove, an EPA stove, I recommend one of these stoves. Now this is a thermoelectric fan. How this thing works is this is a aluminum extrusion. And what it does is absorbs the heat through the base up this fin, and there's a thermoelectric module in here, which is dissimilar metals. If you were to look in there, you'd see all these itty bitty little square pieces of metal. And the metals are different in there. It's the same property or same technology as a thermopile or thermocoupler in a gas stove that generates the millivolts that runs a gas valve. In this case, this thermoelectric module makes 12 volts, which turns this fan. This is an electric motor. And once the thing starts getting hot, the dissimilar metals have an ionic exchange. So the difference in temperature between the base and the top is dissipating the heat from this fin up. It's a difference of 200 degrees is a sweet spot to make a thermoelectric module work. So you need a 200 degree difference. Now this thing will heat up at about 350 degrees. It will start spinning, which is pretty good for a EPA type stove. So we can set this puppy up here and it will start spinning way before this puppy will. So I just want to demonstrate the difference on how these fans work. Now you can pick up a fan like this for about a little over $100, 120 I think they are. They're not cheap, but they're really cool because they don't need any power to work, and they move quite a bit of air. Now, this is the newer design. It's the ECO Fan, and they make them now for gas stoves. They're made in Canada. They're a real cool little unit, and it's getting hot already. And so this is the newer version. It's got a new fan on it versus the older style. So it actually moves more heat. It's got a newer electric motor. The motors are more dependable. Earlier on, I've been using these fans now for about 10 years. The earlier fans weren't real reliable. But the company's been great. You could send it back and they would fix it and send it back to you. So they've stood behind their product. Excellent company to deal with. We sell these on our website, stove-parts.net, and we sell these. These are also made in Canada, and it's called a Free Breeze. It's a Stirling engine. Now there's another fan that is a Stirling engine. It's called a Heat Wave. However, this fan, the company's now out of business. This is my third fan. They're not a really good fan. I'm going to have to take it apart and rebuild it again. For some reason, they get seized up. Now the key to these fans is you got to be careful what kind of oil you use. There's a special oil for them. Don't just use any kind of oil. Read the manual and it'll tell you. Now there's a company now that makes thermoelectric fans very similar to this, and they're making them in England. So you can see that puppy is already starting to turn. So now that's what's so cool about that fan. It'll start spinning way before the other fan. Here's this little temperature gauge I was telling you about. My reading right now, this fan started spinning at 169 degrees. That's the reading I'm getting. So we're now at 200 degrees.